Hi everyone, welcome back to Kidding Around. My name is Melanie Smith and I think it is thoroughly thrilling that you are here with me today on another Thoughtful Thursday. Today we are going to be making this colorful and happy making window hanging. Before we do that though, if you like what you're seeing here and you want to follow along with all of Kidding Around's videos, please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and below each video click the thumbs up. Also, if you really like what you're doing here, please share us with your friends. Thank you so much. All right, it is Thursday and it is time to think about others. You know, the other day I was walking through my neighborhood and there was one house that had some kid art in the windows. It was spring art and oh my goodness, I have to tell you, it just made my heart happy to see it. I love the fact that the kids did the art and then I love the fact that they put them up in the window to make everyone's days just a little bit brighter. So I thought that we could do something similar today and we could provide a pop of color for anyone walking through your neighborhood or driving through your neighborhood. We can simply, it's not even hard, we can simply string some colorful balls along a string attached to a stick and hang it in the window, and hopefully people who are walking or driving by will see it and this pop of color will just make their days that much brighter. You know, the really cool thing about it is that because windows are see-through, everyone outside will get to enjoy it, but you inside will get to enjoy it as well. So, like I mentioned, this is a pretty simple craft to do. We need to talk a little bit about tying some thread, which can sometimes be tricky, so you may need some grown-up help for that. But other than that, this is a simple, fun, quick craft that provides a whole big pop of color for you and the people in your neighborhood. So in order to do this, you will need a few supplies. You will need a stick. This is best found in your yard or in a local park. There's something about the roughness of it that I love, along with this color, these colorful pom-poms. All right, and then you will need some thread, some sewing thread. You will also need a sewing needle, of course being careful of the fact that the point can be sharp. And you will need some scissors to cut the thread. And then you will need some pom-poms. In this one, have used several different sizes of pom-poms. If you have different sizes, great. If you want to use all the same size, great. It's really your call. It's your art. It's up to you. If you don't have pom-poms, I have a link below this video where you can purchase these that I have right here. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that I am going to do is I am going to thread my needle with a piece of relatively long thread. Now I'm going to double up my thread because I want it to be strong, super strong. Thread in and of itself can be pretty strong, but doubling it up makes it doubly strong. All right, so to do that, I am going to take my piece of thread and I am going to put it through the eye of the needle. Now this can take a little bit of practice, but if you keep working at it, I am sure that you can get it. And if you can't, or if you're really struggling with it, ask a grown-up to help. I'm sure that they would be more than happy to help you. All right, so now once I have my needle threaded, I am going to pull that small piece of thread that I pushed through the eye, pull it out quite a ways. So I think here, I don't know if you can see clear to the top, I have a couple feet here of thread and it is doubled up. I hope that you can see that. So it's doubled clear to where I'm going to cut off the other side of the thread. So I'm going to cut it right there, and then I am going to knot it. So to knot it, I am going to cross it. So you see what I did there. I crossed it, which made a loop, and then I am going to take these ends, the two ends, and put them through that loop of thread, and I am going to pull it tight. Now this small knot probably isn't big enough to stop one of these pom-poms. So I'm now going to make this knot bigger. This can be tricky, trying to get the knot to fall in the same place every single time. Sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't do it either, but you just keep practicing, and as you practice you get better. So let's go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is I have that knot right there. Hopefully you can see that. And I am going to put it over my finger, and then I'm going to do the same thing. So I crossed my thread. So I have my knot here on my finger, and I'm going to cross my thread so you can see that X right there. And then again, I'm going to put the ends through the loop, and then I am going to pull it tight. Now, as I pull it, I am going to try to get the knot that I'm tying to fall on the knot that I just tied. And so you kind of can move it around a little bit with your fingers. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Look there, I didn't get it, did I? You know, sometimes it's really cool when you get two knots like that are close to one another, because then you try it again and you will find out that those two knots combine with the third knot that you're tying and make an even bigger knot. All right, so if I don't get it the first time, I don't worry about it. I just tie it again, and see, that's exactly what happened. Those two little knots came together with my third knot, and it made it a bigger knot. Now I'm going to do this one more time. I have found that tying the knot 4 times, it seems to be the magic number for me. So there I go, I have my 4th knot. Like I said, this can be tricky. Practice makes it better, but also you can ask a grown-up for some help too. I'm sure they would be happy to help you. All right, so once you have your thread, now you're going to even it out. So you have your knots at the bottom, and then you have your needle at the top, and you have relatively straight thread between the needle and the knot. And then it is very simple. All you do is start pushing these little pom-poms on the needle. So I'm going to be very careful, because I know that this needle is sharp, and I know that it's going to be going through a pom-pom. So I want to keep my fingers on the side of the pom-pom as I push my needle through straight. So I'm going to push through straight like that. Then once I get my needle through the pom-pom, then I will just gently pull it down to the bottom. Now, you can make this pom-pom go over that knot if you pull really hard at the end. Don't do that, and it won't. It doesn't need to be super, like the thread doesn't need to be a huge stop. It just needs to be enough to stop the pom-pom from falling off the thread. So 4 knots should be good, as long as you're very gentle when you put that pom-pom down at the end. But so I have gone down to the knot, and then I stopped, and then I am just going to start stringing pom-poms. Now the really cool thing about this is you get to decide what colors you want to do, what patterns you want to do, how full or sparse you want to make your string full of pom-poms. It's totally your call. It's all about what you like. So the other thing is that not the other thing, I guess just another thing is that as you put these pom-poms on, they will stop wherever you stop them. Again, you can make them move more if you want to make them move, but it's really cool that you can just stop them, and they just stop on the string wherever you stopped them. So you get to decide just where you want to put every little pom-pom and the sizes. It's really, really fun. And look at how quickly that came together. All right, so this can get tangled pretty easily. So this craft is something that you will want to do in a place where you can really lay out your pom-poms and your strings. If they get a little tangled, you can see here, mine kind of got a little tangled as I laid this down on the table. It's no big deal. You just very gently untangle them. The trick to untangling things in general is to be gentle. Look at where the string is coming from, and then you can untangle it very easily. So once you get your strings strung on your branch, then you can move it to the window that you want, and then you can straighten it out. They're going to move a little bit as you move it to where it's hanging, but once you get it to the window, you can move them around and hang it out exactly like you want, and then it will just stay straight exactly the way you want it. All right, so that's all well and good. Now let's get back to attaching our string to our stick. All right, so when you have it about as long as you want it, or about as full as you want it, I should say, then you are going to attach it to the stick. So the way that I do that is I am going to cut right here, right at the needle. I'm cutting that thread, And then that gives me a long piece of thread to be able to tie onto this stick. You will see that I left, about 6 inches of thread there at the top so that I could tie it over the stick. Again, if you realize that you haven't left quite enough for your tie, that's okay, because guess what? You can just pull this top little pom-pom down and it gives you a little bit more space. All right, so now I am going to tie it to my stick. So I'm putting my thread under the stick, and then I'm going to tie it the same way that we did earlier. I am going to cross the thread that is under the stick and then pulled back over. So you see that? I put the thread under the stick, pulled it over, and then I am crossing the string there, and then I am going to take the 2 ends and I am going to pull it through that loop that the cross made, and then I'll pull it tight. And then I need to do that one more time to make sure that this stays attached. And there we go. I'm going to readjust just a little bit my pom-poms, and look at that. I have my first string done. You get to decide how many strings you want to do. I think we will go through probably 2 more here together just to make sure that we're all on the same page and that you have the stringing and the threading and the tying down. But you get to decide if you want 3 on yours or you want 10 on yours. It's up to you. All right, so I'm going to take my thread and I am going to thread my needle. Now, I don't know if you can see, the thread here is a little bit frayed, which makes it a little bit harder to go through a needle. So I'm just going to cut that little frayed end off so that I have a straight cut right there to start with. And then I am going to put it through the eye of the needle, and then I will pull it down long. I want to double my string. So I am pulling it down, and I know that I'm probably going off camera there, but this seems to be the easiest way for me, is to pull it clear up straight and then just cut at the table level where my thread is. All right, I'm just knocking things all over, aren't I? All right, so then I'm at the end of my string and I am going to tie a knot. So remember, I make an X. I crossed it right there. Then I'm taking these 2 pieces, the 2 ends of the string, and I am pulling it through and pulling it tight. Now I'm going to do that 3 more times, and I'm going to try to get my knots to line up so that I have a quadruple knot down at the bottom of my thread. So there I have 3. 3 is probably enough, but I like to do 4 just for extra insurance. There we go. I have 4 knots there all lined up, and then I get to very carefully thread my pom-poms. Again, choosing the color I want, choosing the size that I want, choosing the density that I want. You know, that means how many pom-poms I have on my string. I could put a lot on, I could put a few on. You get to do whatever you want. You know, it's kind of fun. You could make patterns with these. You could, you could even like do something rainbowish. You know, I love rainbows. You could do, like 1 string of red, 1 string of orange, 1 string of yellow, or you could do 1 line across like this of red, orange, yellow. I mean, you could do your favorite colors. You could do school colors, anything you want. But whatever you pick, it's going to add so much color to your window, and it's going to add color to the lives of the people who are walking by it. All right, so I think I probably have this one done. So then again, I am going to cut right up here, right next to the needle. Then I'll put the needle in a safe place. And then I will come over to my stick, and I'm going to be very mindful of the way that these strings cross. I'm going to try to keep these strings from crossing. Because they have these big balls on them, they are likely to get tangled, and it's much harder to get them untangled if we have balls tied up. It's doable, but I would just recommend you try to keep your strings out of each other's way. All right, so then I put my thread underneath my stick, and then I cross it. So I have an X, and then I just bring those 2 little ends through, and then I do it 1 more time, and look at that. I now have 2 colorful strings on my stick, and I can just adjust however I want there. and it's perfect. All right, let's do one more together, just so, just for fun. I enjoy hanging with you, and I also am really happy to do this with you to make sure that it all makes sense. All right, so I'm threading my needle, and this takes practice too, but you will get it if you keep practicing. All right, so then I pull out my thread, I find the end of it, and I cut. Ooh, my scissors aren't very sharp, and I cut there. All right, and then I do my knot, right? First I need to, it looks like, adjust my thread so that they're both together, so that the ends are together. All right, there we go. I around my finger, make an X, pull those two ends through, and then I will do it 3 more times. Oh, I missed it there. I hope you can see that, but no big deal. Now I'm just going to try to combine those 2 knots with my third. Well, I didn't do it, but I did get my third knot on my second one. So, it's progress. All right, there we go. My 4th knot. Oh, almost pulled them all together. You know what? I'm going to do a 5th knot to try to get those 2 knots together. Then I'll have a nice big knot. All right, there we go. I did it. So that was my 5th knot. All right, now I am going to adjust my string so it's straight, and then I will just carefully start stringing again. You could do red, white, and blue if you wanted to do something like 4th of July themed. If you're doing Easter or spring, you could do, like pastel colors. Let's see, if you were celebrating, even you could do this, at the holiday, like in December. You could do something for Hanukkah or for Christmas. Oh my goodness, there are so many possibilities. Oh, and you could even, with size, you can alternate size too. You could do 1 string full of little ones, 1 string full of medium ones, 1 string full of big ones. Oh my goodness, the possibilities are endless. All right, so I think I have that one strung the way that I want. So again, I am going to take my scissors and just cut off right at the edge of that needle. Then I am going to bring over my stick, and I think I'm actually going to flip it over very carefully so that I can more easily get to the part of the stick that I want to tie onto. And that also means I wasn't pulling my string across the other strings. All right, and then I put the thread under the stick, and then it goes, we make an X, and then we pull those small 2 ends through the loop, and we do it again, and look at that. Oops, I'm stuck on the bottom of the table. So again, this you want to be very careful of, because they can tangle easily, but then if they get tangled, it's not that big of a deal. You just kind of have to work gently to get them untangled. Anyway, now look at that. I have 3 done. I could do 2 more. I could do 5 more. I could consider this done. It's up to you. When you decide that you're done, then you probably want to go and just snip these long pieces on the other ends of the knot off. That just makes it look like a more finished product. You can do that on the end too. So you can just clip those right towards the end. Give them just a little bit of a tail, but take some of those long tails off. And just like that, you have a beautiful piece of art, colorful art to hang in your window that the passerbys will love and you and your family will love as well. I would love to see pictures of your beautiful, colorful window art. Please ask a grown-up to take a picture and put that on our Facebook site. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to join me today for this Thoughtful Thursday lesson. I love the fact that you love spreading love around the world. Thank you so much for joining me for this one. I will see you on Saturday where we have another fun lesson planned. I can't wait for that one. But until then, thanks for joining me again for this one. Thanks so much for kidding around with me. I will see you next time.